All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Company Bench first ever HR webinar. Our panelist for today is Mr. Kshitij Agrawal and Ms. Anuradha Motwani. We are still waiting on Ms. Sayoni Ghosh, and we'll add her to the panel as soon as she arrives. If you guys could unmute yourself at the moment, we could just jump into this, yes?
Ash.
Hello, Mr. Kshitij. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely well. How are you doing, Ms. Anuradha?
I'm doing good, Ash. How about you?
Wonderful, wonderful. So I want to start off this session by getting a bit of an interview, sort of journey that you've been through in your HR, career up until this point, and then sort of get into the problems that we're currently facing and the solutions that we can get out through this meeting. Yeah, if we could start with you, Ms. Anuradha.
Yeah, so far as the journey in HR is concerned, it has been, mixed sort of feeling, lots of ups and downs, of course, being handling the entire HR domain from engagement to recruitment to learning and at all poses a challenge. But yeah, today the main topic is recruitment. So indeed, attracting talent and retaining them is a challenge, not only a small company is facing, but I think biggest of the companies are facing these days. So I think this webinar will add some great insights for HR professionals.
That's what we hope for. That's what we hope doing. Yeah. Mr. Kshitij Agrawal, if you could move this along and give us a bit of an overview of what Bench is doing at the moment.
Sure, definitely. I believe Sayoni is also joined.
Great. Great. Ms. Sayoni, how are you doing? If you could unmute yourself, we will get your introduction in as well. Yeah.
Am I audible to everyone? I'm not very sure.
We can hear you now. Yes. Yeah,
okay, great. Yeah, I'm sorry for the delay. I just got engaged in some call, but I'm here now.
Not an issue. As long as you're here to solve our problems in the HR industry, we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Right. So we were just discussing, if you could just give us a very quick, we were still with Mr. Kshitij, and as soon as he's done, Mr. Kshitij, if you could please continue, yeah?
Sure. So I would come to that because let's hear about all the problems, right? Then probably I can talk about the solution. Introduce myself. I'm CEO and founder of Company Bench, and we have a pretty unique solution, about this industry, and we'll come to that, in later.
We'll jump into that. Yes, absolutely. So, let's start off with an article that I read yesterday. DNA reported that a company called White Hat Junior had 800 of their employees resign because they made work from office compulsory. Right now, when a corporation loses 800 of its employees within a span of 1 month, is this something that you as an HR, and how do you face an issue like this? Obviously, with the great resignation that is going on. Ms. Anuradha, if we could start with you.
And we all are aware about the brand that you spoke about, the White Hat, and 800 is a really big figure. For a company in a span of 1 month. So I think the major reason for that is we all are habituated with working our comfort zone as far as work from home is concerned. And suddenly, if company would force them to work from office, it is little difficult for the employees to, adapt that. Maybe if company could have tried some hybrid pattern that MNCs are trying these days, maybe it could help them to retain few of their employees is what I feel.
So is this what your company is doing at the moment?
No, my company is into NBFC. So we are like banks. We never had work from home in a way. Right. But yeah, we had for a few days for support like IT and HR. But business teams were anyways working from office. So as far as that aspect is concerned, we are not facing this issue.
Right. Ms. Sayoni, if I could take your 2 cents on the same topic, yeah?
Right. So we had worked from home for the past 2 years, and we've recently started our hybrid system. As the world is seeing the great resignation, we are also faced that, but the attrition was not that high in our organization. Number one reason, I think, because the reason behind this was we kept all our employees engaged even when they were working remotely. I as an HR made sure that, I'm keeping a tab on everyone, making sure that everyone is, aware of what are the developments that the company is doing, what are the other teams doing, and also keeping them engaged via different activities while they were working remotely. I think that has helped a
Right.
lot.
So this sort of model of retention that you've implemented has been a recent model, or is this sort of something that you've done post-COVID?
We continued doing this throughout COVID. This was not something that we tried, before COVID, but it has worked, and we are, continuously doing that.
Okay, great. So the way I'm planning on moving this, sort of webinar along is, so the webinar is based into two parts: attracting talent and then retaining talent. So, Ms. Kshitij Agrawal, if I'll jump into this with you. If we could get an understanding of how important is branding when you're attracting talent into a company, right? So, I mean, if it's somebody like Zensar or a TCS, they have a big brand. And do you think, in your opinion, is that something that matters when employees are planning on joining a company?
Sure. Basically, it all depends on the experience of employee and age group of the employee, what I've seen. So like, for example, what I've seen is like the recent freshers, the new crowd, which is out there. I think they are looking for more opportunities. They're looking for better package. They're looking for better exposure. And I would say they are more than happy to work with startups, rather than working with the big corporates.
Right.
Okay. However, like people, who are about to get married, who are well settled in their career and they want to, not take risks, they have housing, they have home EMIs, they have, kids, and then I would say at certain point, I would say anyone above 10 to 15 years experience, they are more on the stability side of it, because they have had their run, they have done all the challenges and all on the startup, so now they are looking more on the settlement side of it, more, thing, so when I say brand, I'm assuming you're mentioning about big MNCs or big company.
Yeah.
Having said that, yes, there are smaller brands as well, like Byju's and all, where I know the concept or like the work culture is very, very aggressive, so it doesn't mean that brand means work culture. But I think people are looking, like, especially like lateral people are looking for more easy life rather than, more thrill.
So, Mr. Kshitij, what I understand from your sort of conversation here is that MNCs will offer you a job security, right? And if Ms. Anuradha, is this something that you completely agree with at the moment, or is this something that is not something that you would agree with?
To an extent, I would say yes, because in MNCs, the hierarchies are very big. So it is not easy to terminate an employee. Like few people cannot plan to terminate an employee, whereas in smaller companies, there always has a risk. If you don't have a good rapport with the boss, there are all the chances that you might get terminated. Whereas in MNC, considering a lot of hierarchies and a lot of processes in place, comparatively a job security is more. Okay,
interesting. So, Ms. Sayoni, before we jumped into this webinar, I went through all of the panelists' LinkedIn accounts, and so one of the things that I saw that a couple of months ago, your company posted a job with job requirement that we're looking for PHP developers, we're looking for X developers and Y developers, right? And a few of the comments on the post below was that, okay, I'm commenting for increasing engagement, I'm commenting so that more people look at this. So are you currently facing the issue of attracting talent, and why is this happening now?
So see, we comparatively to all the MNCs, we are a smaller brand. We generally are very specific. We work in healthcare technology. And now after COVID, people are realizing that how important healthcare technology is. So we are getting a lot of attention. But before that, it was really difficult for us to, attract the right talents. So we put it out there. We ask our employees to share it, comment on it. And so that somebody from references might.
No. So currently the channels of hiring, and I think I'll move this to you, Mr. Kshitij, hiring channels for sort of acquiring talent into your company, especially for somebody like Ms. Sayoni who's looking for developers. I'm guessing this is something that Bench does at the moment. So if you could just give us a bit of a brief of if this is a solution that we can offer.
Yeah.
I think
So I
you're,
would say
yeah.
yes. So we work on a very different, unique model in terms of hiring. As I mentioned in the conference as well. That see, every company. We have been speaking to almost 200 plus companies. And every company is struggling with the talent, right? Okay, and like if we talk about big company like Accenture and all, they suddenly closed a project of, let's say, 1,000 people, right? And they are looking for talent and they want people yesterday. Okay, or we talk about a startup who recently got a funding and they need people like yesterday. Okay, so all of these, have a sweet timeline of, I would say, at least 2 to 3 months to fulfill that gap, right? And especially for larger company, it has been a problem, or even for smaller companies, that like they have formed a team, they are waiting for the developers to join, and the last day or one, a day before, the client, the developer, back out, right? So they are in a pickle, right? So what we have done is, I know, like, even we as a company don't have the capability to give 1,000 people at once. But what we understand is, there are small companies out there who have like 10 people each, 5 people each, or, there are a lot of independent contractors who want to work. So what we do is we have created a pool of them and we deploy the pool as it is, right? So using that, so we do understand all these issues, what are happening about Attract. And for now, I would say every company is struggling. I don't think anyone has a spatial solution of it, unless, of course, they can pay exceptionally well, right? Or they are like, Facebook or, Google and all, which everyone wants to join. They're not a mothership. So I think we are just trying to solve it in a very different manner.
Right. So obviously, what you mentioned is instant hiring, right? I have a project today and I need the developer today, right? Anuradha, do you see any sort of a problem that could occur in a model like this? I don't think I think you're still muted at the moment.
I'm so sorry. So I really feel if you are into instant hiring, then there is no surety if you'll get people or not. And if people are really interested in you, they would be having a notice period to serve. So that becomes a risk that if you'll instantly get your positions filled or not. So that is a challenge, major challenge. Another thing is people may or may not like to work for a temporary projects. People might want to work for something called permanent job. So I think, instant hiring at times poses a lot of challenge for recruiters.
Mr. Agarwal, if you do you want to rebate on that?
Right. So she is mentioning about a company who's trying to do instant hiring, right? Whereas what we are saying is we have a solution for that. So yes, I agree with what she's saying. Like as a company, you have a notice period of 3 months and you cannot ask a developer to join immediately. You have to whatever you have to read.
Right. So currently, Sayoni, if I could ask you, Plus 91 Technologies, what is the current ratio that you're having, the amount of recruiters versus the amount of hiring that you're doing at the moment?
So to be very honest, I'm the only person that is working there. Okay. So I do everything from A to Z, right? So the hiring that we're doing is very large scale. But then again, the process that we have currently, I think that has also added in to, make the candidates more interested. Because if you see any big companies like the mothership, like Kshitij rightly said, everyone wants to join them. Number one factor is branding. Number two is people want to test themselves out. Like they know that the hiring process is very difficult and long. So cracking that process means, right, I am capable of something. So we have designed the hiring process that way so that people would be more interested.
Very interesting. So audience, I think we have about 28 participants at the moment. What I would really like is that if you want to ask a few questions directed to any one of the panelists, we're happy to, if you can just put that in the chat and we will start asking the panelists the questions which the people really do want to hear. So, audience, feels free. My chat is open. Yeah, feel free to just type in the questions and we will start asking the panelists. Until then, Right. So this is one of the questions that we asked in the Evolve HR conference that Company Bench had recently organized. And so I think this is one of the questions that a lot of people had, problems with. And this is directed towards Mr. Puneet Kansal, the CEO of Rollsmania. And the audience asked him that, do people follow leaders or do people follow packages? Right. And I want to add a little more to this question, where currently the package that you're providing to your employees, because it is a more of an employee centric market now, is this sustainable at the moment for your company, and is it sustainable in the long run as well? Ms. Ayoni, I think we could start with you. Yeah.
Okay. So we are following the trends, but not being out of budget, because we know that we have projects coming on, but we obviously as a company, we cannot go out of budget and do something now that will eventually, affect the company's total budget in the long run. So we are sticking to what we think is appropriate for a position, irrespective of what the market is.
Understood. Ms. Anuradha, if you want to continue.
Yeah, we also follow the same pattern. We decide an appropriate range to be offered to a particular profile, and we follow that. But yeah, as far as the current perspective of candidates is concerned, they tend to follow the packages more because they don't follow the leaders. There are various societal changes that I would consider, which I have observed in our generation, especially. If you look at the social media, if you look at Instagram, that everyone is going to, on weekend, they are going to resort. So all these things, maintaining a good lifestyle, showing that on the social media needs a lot of money. So this generation basically follow packages more than any other thing, maybe to have a sustainable lifestyle, maybe to have a good work-life balance. So yeah, that is the problem all of us are facing. But yeah, like Ms. Ghosh rightly said, we also follow the same pattern of deciding a budget and not going beyond that. Considering
so you stick to it basically. So if I'm an employee and I come to you and you've come up with a package of maybe a 10 lakh CTC, so that is the limit. Even if I'm better than the other people and asking for a 12, Parisha Capital will not go above the 10 lakh mark.
Yes.
Mr. Kshitij, is that something that you think is the right way to do, or do you think that acquiring talent is the final goal and whatever it costs should be the cost?
So I would say, people follow package, people follow leaders, but rather they follow quality of life. What I've seen these days. It's all about, where they feel like, they are on a nice Caribbean cruise, right? So which means, of course, they need a great package. They need great benefits. They need additional holidays. They need great, starter kit, like with a Mac or with an iPhone and all. They need like anything and everything, right? So their demand is not limited to what they need. And whoever can give them those things, I think that's what they're looking for, right? So, having said that, like following a leader, leader is something they can only follow when they have joined it. So I would say they can only follow a leader when they actually joined and now they know about the leader. But before that, all these, things here and there, is something, like whether company is sharing the ESOPs, whether, is there like a 6 months paternity leave, whatever it is, so people are looking for those kind of benefits, or quality of life.
Interesting. Very interesting. So, Mr. Kshitij, I'll continue with you. One of the questions that we get a lot are, have you ever faced the issue of fake profiles and proxy interviews? And if you have sort of faced this issue, how are you managing it on your end?
See, I can speak to you because I'm from the IT background, so I can tell you about the IT side of it. I think it is a business opportunity for a lot of companies, what I have seen. And there are a lot of startups who have come up who basically charge people, ki boss, main tumhara interview kara dunga, I will crack the interview for you. I will give you a package of 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, whatever it is. And then it's up to you how long you can fool the company, right? So there are actual companies out there who are doing that, right? So is it happening? Yes, of course it's happening. It's actually a business model, right? And how do we track that? How do we fix that? So initially, we used to have only telephonic rounds, right? And or non-camera rounds. And when we did that, what happened was, like, of course, like Arsh was sitting, but XYZ was speaking, right? So that was very common, and the moment someone joined, we used to get, understand, in a week time that this person is fake, right? Later, we started a video camera, interviews. And then also we realized ki, if the person is having very sloggy camera, there is a lot of delay. कि आवाज पहले आ रही है और हुड बाद में चल रहे हैं. So if
Yeah.
there is a delay and all, we get to know कि हाँ कुछ challenge है, right? Okay, because in the past we have also done कि interview बहुत amazing हुआ, but when we took a screenshot and when the person joined, it was a different person.
Yeah, it was a different person.
So a lot of things are happening. So you have to be very, very careful in terms of, I would say you should take the meeting always online. You should record the session. You should take several screenshots. And if there's a delay, you should escalate it to your senior manager कि boss यहाँ पे कुछ हो रहा है, and maybe call him for face to face. I know everyone is struggling for talent, and we somehow tend to hire, कि चलो कर लेते hire देखा जाएगा. But I would say if you have hired such people and then once they join and they start, threatening you कि अरे आपने मुझे अभी लिया, if you like fire me in next 7 days, I will sue you or I will do this and that. I think that is a bigger challenge. So we have to be more careful.
Interesting. Ms. Anuradha, do you want to continue on the same topic?
These days, I have faced this thing as far as work from home is concerned. So everybody is working from home. So somebody else is talking on behalf of the candidate on a preliminary telephone call, maybe a brother or a husband or what. So they don't let the candidate talk, even if we insist that let me speak with the candidate. They say, no, you schedule the interview directly. I am speaking on her behalf. So that is something very strange I found. And I was not ready to, of course, talk with them much. I always insisted in talking with the candidate at the first hand. And there were several profiles who got cancelled that we only will be coordinating on behalf of our wife or sister or what. So that is the challenge I think that was faced. Plus, as Kshitij rightly said, that threatening or the risk if you hire somebody and if somebody else comes up, I would imagine like it's a big threat to the company. So
Okay.
Indeed,
so
the
reason I'm smiling is because I'm getting questions from the participants here. So I'll read this out to you. If the HR or a company expects the candidate to join the company, and if he or she accepts the offer, I will frame it a little better. And just give me 1 second. Yeah.
No problem.
Right. So I think this is the best thing that you can ask to an HR. So if a candidate expects to join a company and you've taken the interview, in your opinion, as an HR, what is the best answer that you should give them? Because a lot of the people will give we will get back to you answer. And now as an HR, is this the same thing that you follow? Ki, we will get back to you. Yeah, we're still working on it. Hum dekh ke lenge. Or is there something more specific? Ki, if you're not selected, it's a yes or a no.
See, I have always, as far as, I have seen HRs are being known for this dialogue. We'll get back to you. But it would be appropriate for HR professionals to be very clear. If the candidates are not selected, writing an email to them that they cannot take the candidate further would be very clear. So that candidate is also not waiting and he or she would start fetching another jobs. And if they are selected,
but my question here is that, see, as an HR, you expect your candidate to be honest with you.
Yes.
Right? So the candidate should come with the proper CV, not lie on that. Don't lie on the proxy interviews. Don't moonlight with us. So you're expecting a very straightforward and I understand it's a bit of a stereotype. Either way, as an HR, do you believe it's the employees, right? Also, now that it is an employee-centric market, finally, to say that, we also should be honest with the employees to say that if you are not eligible for this job, you are not eligible for this job.
I guess, yes, it works both the ways. That if we expect the employees to be true to their CVs and to be, true in the interview, then HR should also be very clear on fixed incentive and bonus. If you are adding bonus to that, saying that this is your CTC, then you should be very clear this is a variable part. This may differ based on your performance. Another thing is the candidate is not selected, then preliminary email or a message, whatever, but communicate to the candidate that you are not shortlisted, will be not able to proceed ahead. So I guess it works on both the ways, as well as it works on the side of the candidate as well. On the date of joining, if the candidate doesn't turn up, then it's very disappointing. So I think clarity on both the ends is really required to create a better
Hmm.
industry, is all I would say.
Interesting. So, Ms. Sayoni, I'll move this along to you. We have a question from the audience. It says that what is the first thing you observed during a face-to-face interview? Appearance, IQ, required skills. What is the sort of most important part of this of your hiring process?
Right. So, just to jump to the question directly, the person is coming for the face-to-face interview. That means we have already checked in the requirements. We have already checked in the required skills and everything. We have checked whether the person can communicate, whether he fulfills all our criteria, and then we have called the person for the face-to-face interview. So the first thing when he comes in is the body language. That what we follow is the body language that the person is carrying, the attitude that the person has. We have this policy to make every person who is coming for a face-to-face round interview to make them wait for at least 10 hours in our reception, irrespective of whether the interviewer is available or not. Because we want to see
Okay.
how they behave with our office boy, the peons, right?
Okay.
Are they getting irritated? Are, the way they are talking to them, are they being respectful, irrespective of the designation that they have? So if everything goes well, then we call them up and then we try to see like, what is their mental state? Are they nervous? Okay, are they confident enough? When we ask them about their resume, are they able to say everything that's written, or is it a bluff? So when somebody's talking, when things do not match, right? So we get to know whether they're bluffing or not. Then we move on and give them some logical puzzles and all to understand their thinking pattern, right?
Okay.
To understand what scenarios they faced before.
Very interesting. So, Mr. Kshitij, obviously you're a very enterprising man. You've made Tequila 300 plus employee company, and obviously Bench is growing at a sustainable rate as well. So, obviously this is something that only works when obviously you're efficient, but your team is also efficient, right? So, like Sayoni just said, that the first thing, obviously, when they are hiring is the humility part of it, and then the sort of the part of it where how good are you at your job. Is this the same process that you followed, or is your way of working more towards this is the job, this is how to do it or leave?
No, of course. I think again, it's not my point. I think someone in the conference also mentioned a really great point that you can teach them skills, you can teach them what to do, but you cannot teach them how to stick to the company, how to actually be I'm not getting the right word, how to be dedicated towards the job, right? So I again, and of course, it doesn't mean that you just hire anyone who is a plumber, but you are asking him to just code because he is a dedicated plumber, right? So assuming I'm talking on the final round, which is manager round, which I take. So I'm assuming he has already passed the technical round, maybe written round, and now he has come to office, meet me face to face. So honestly, I never speak anything regarding technical to him at all, because technical, I think he is good enough. He has done all those things, right? What I am more interested talking about is, more how involved he is, how passionate he is. Do he really wants to work or not? Is he just doing the offer collections and all? So I think I'm more into to create a bond with that person. Ki if he's really good, I really try to make the bond. He should join. And if he's still fake, I should try to dig in that out. I'm more doing more of a psychology kind of or thing with him. So that's what I try to like to.
Great point. Great point. So coming down to one of the final questions that we have here. Currently, is there a way to create a blacklist of employees, right? Saying that these employees have always been on issue in any company that they join. So is there any way, sort of a way to create this blacklist, and maybe, how do we manage to do something like that? Or is that even a possibility? Maybe sort of a glass door, but for employees. Kshitij, if I could continue with you, yeah.
So first of all, I need to understand from the HRs on this group, and anyone can answer that. Is there any list like that already existing? Because I know there are common portals out there for jobs. There are common portal out there for company reviews. But is there any portal someone can go in and check for blacklist? Because I know when I was a fresher, हमें डराया जाता था कि नहीं काम करो तो blacklist हो जाओगे, right? लेकिन blacklist कहाँ हो गई? Are you going to be blacklisted? Or is it like worldwide, So I'm not sure if there is any portal out there, existing on that or not.
But I think,
Yeah, anyone knows about it, please let me know. And if not, of course, I would love, that to understand how we can create that, right? At least maybe we can create it industry specific. But we should have something ki agar some, because everyone spends time and money, to interview someone. And agar wo banda fake nikal raha hai, I'm not saying ki we should publicly defame him, but at least,
Right.
somehow give him a rating, ki
But
theek hai,
why
this
not?
person-
But
Right.
Sidharth, my question is, why not publicly defame, right? Today, when, for example, see, obviously, Company Bench and Tequila Global Services are both 4.5 on Glassdoor, right? And you make sure to maintain that so that you're good at attracting talent. So when an employee now will come and tell you that, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. You as a company, if you're emotional about it and you say that, yeah, we will not make him publicly this, but he's very happy to public. These were your words, that when you get a good cup of coffee, you never go and put a good review. But when you get a bad cup of coffee, the first thing you do is go and put a bad review, right? So why not, as a company, can you do that to an employee? And this is my opinion, but what would be your answer to this?
See, again, there might be other situations as well. I've seen that, some people are really good, but they panic during the interview, right? So we cannot just say if someone is not speaking that he is actually a fool, right? Or he don't know anything. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to say is that instead of just writing a review, this guy is like he doesn't know anything, rather just give him a rating. Okay. So, of course, the Arsh Lakhani has, put himself as a JavaScript developer and a SEO developer, right? And when I've interviewed him, I find as Arsh has 3 out of 5, and maybe, JavaScript is 2 out of 5, right? So I would rather give him a pointer and maybe a small feedback that, he was not able to answer a few basic questions, that's it. So I think that is fine, but but what I'm trying to say here is like, if we, unfortunately, if we have one person who got like 10 or 20 different ratings, like negative ratings, and he read that and for God forbid he do anything to him,
That's true.
then the portal will be to the blame, because as a company is mature enough and they can handle these all negative reviews. But a single person, I've seen people take it very, very like to the heart, and they I'm not sure how they react, so we should do it, but there has to be like a subtle way of doing it. That's what I feel.
Interesting, very interesting. Anuradha, what do you think of sort of creating a database of reviews about employees so that it's much easier for the HRs to manage their job?
Yeah, but it would be difficult to maintain that, I guess, because having a common database and all the companies putting review in that, I agree with Kshitij to an extent that it would be difficult to publicly review somebody. If we take our own example, if I perform good in somebody's interview, somebody had given me 4 or 4.5, and somebody else has then given me 3.5. So what is my actual review? Like, somebody is giving me 3, somebody is giving me 5. So I don't think so that will give a clear image. And on top of that, another thing, what I feel is company can have their own internal database. Like, instead of having a common one, I already have my own database at Prachay of those who performed well and somehow could not join. I have kept them in my database that in case if they come in future, I can hire them. Or somebody who has not joined, I blacklist them, let's say for 3 months, for 6 months, for 1 year. So like that, in a way, company can have their own database, but handling a common database, putting a review for an individual, somewhat not that right, and it would be difficult to maintain, I guess.
Interesting, very interesting point. Sayoni, we have a question again from the audience. It says that for candidates with job gaps, would you hire somebody with more than 2 years of a job gap for men and women candidate both? And how is this judged and weighed against the other competitors?
Right. So what we do is we do hire people with employment gap, irrespective of their gender. So what we try to see is how they have worked during this employment gap, and like what was the difficulty, why they couldn't work, and how they have utilized this to improve on their skills or learn new skills. So if they have utilized it to do something, towards their career, so then, and if they fulfill our criteria, then why not go ahead and hire it? Because they need somebody, we are looking for somebody. If it fits, it fits.
Right. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, this is all the time we have for our webinar today. We hope that you enjoyed, and thank you so much to our panelists, Ms. Anuradha, Ms. Sayoni, and Mr. Kshitij. Thank you guys so much for coming. We're going to be doing this webinar once a week, every Saturday. So we would love it if you guys could share this on your LinkedIn's, get a few subscribers on our YouTube channel as well. we made a Discord as well. So we're really trying to create a fundamental platform for all of the HRs to come and just have a basic discussion. So thank you once again so much for coming, and we hope to see you once again very, very soon. Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Harsh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harsh.
Thanks. Bye.